Hello, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe. Today, we're going to be talking about harness that power of desire. Yes, harness the power of desire. And one other way to look at it is how badly do you want it? I mean, really. You've decided that you are going to go after a particular goal. You are going to achieve something. You are going to do something that you consider, when done, will be a success, whatever that is. If it's next week, if it's at the end of today, if it's a year from now, if it's something you're working towards as a lifelong goal, whatever that is, you have decided that that is what you are going to be working towards. It is a priority in your life. And now what? Well, if we harness that power of desire, if we harness that power of the want, how badly do you want it? If you can describe just how badly do you want it, what are you willing to do to get it? What are you willing to not do to get it? I think that's just as important. Where are we getting all this from? My favorite author, researcher, journalist, and documenter, Napoleon Hill. I have a copy from 1969, the copy of Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. In the drop-in area, there is a link in the upper right corner of that seat that will take viewers, live viewers, to a PDF. At the moment, I am not reading anything specific from the book. I will be moving forward. Yesterday and today, I wanted to introduce you to the book. Okay, first came Law of Success, 16 principles. Then came, often referred to by those who've read both Think and Grow Rich, the Cliff Notes version of Law of Success, 15 principles of success. Then came Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. In this one, they have 17 principles of success. Oh my gosh, how many principles are there? However many there need to be. Do not get stuck on there is a particular number of principles that must be followed in order for you to get what it is that you want, in order for you to achieve what it is that you've set your eyes on and your sights on and your desire towards. Do not get stuck on the number, please. So what I know to be true, and so many of us know to be true, success leaves clues. And those clues are activities, common actions, attitudes of those who have achieved success. Whatever that success is. To you, it might be money. It might be, I am successful when I have an extra $3,000 a month in revenue. For somebody else, it might be the completion of a workshop project. That's one of my small ones. Is upon completion, there's going to be a little party. Now, there are small parties along the way to celebrate the successes that, number 1 is done. We have 4 more. Let's keep moving. Number 2 is done. We have 3 more. That's not a problem. Because we'll do little happy dances because 1 is done. And when they're all done, that's a success. Could be that you want to move to a different part of the country or to a different part of the world. Maybe it's you want to take your business virtual completely. Also known as location independent. Work remotely. Do you want to work out of coffee shops, or do you want to work out of a high-dollar luxury RV that's fully decked out with every kind of internet access capability possible? So that you can do your business from a lake at the top of a mountain, and nobody's going to know you're at the lake at the top of a mountain. remote, or you want to do it from the beach. We had somebody on here yesterday saying, I am this close. She's in near London, England, and she says, I'm this close. I want to be able to go to the beach and do my work. Actually, she's a lot closer than she thought she was. All she needed was some equipment. That's all she needed. So, how badly do you want it? How important is it to you? Is it important enough to say no to some things? Is it important enough to say yes to some things, even if your insides are saying, no, I really don't want to? How badly do you want it? As I said, success is different for everybody. And it looks different, and it feels different. And that's not what we're talking about, is to define success. What we're talking about is how to get there. So here's my own experience. And this is one of the reasons why I even put it as how badly do you want it? Every Sunday I shoot pool. I'm part of a league. I'm on a team. I shoot both 8-ball and 9-ball. I have my individual matches that matter for my point standings within the league. And then, of course, we have our team standings. I have a team captain who is just as nice as can be. He's just a really nice guy. Fully understands that I am there to relax and to have a good time. And yes, I enjoy winning. I enjoy getting the awards. I enjoy getting the badges and all that. And he's actually a very good captain. Because he has, there's 7 of us that he has to wrangle and manage, and talk about different personalities. Whew, all of us are. So anyway, his name's Jack, and he is known for sitting quietly to the side. And when I or somebody else miss a shot, it's like this much, miss the shot. My goodness, you didn't want that bad enough, did you? Just didn't want it bad enough. So now we're talking about individual shots. How badly do you want it? And what does it take to get the focus necessary in order to make the shot? That's on the small scale. Now let's go on the bigger scale. What is necessary in order to make the multiple shots that need to be made in order to win the match? That's step 2. Now let's go up another level. What are the steps that need to be taken in order to win the state invitational as an individual? We can go higher. Got state, then we have national in Vegas, and then we have the internationals. What does it take? How badly do I want it? Am I willing to do what it takes to get there? That's really all I'm talking about, is harnessing that power. Harnessing that desire, because it can be powerful. I mean, if you are pumped up about what it is that you are working on or working towards, I can tell you, you can work through the grind that other people see. I've been doing that over the past couple months. Been creating content, been working with project partners, getting things done, launched, people, selling things now because of it. Put the nose to the grindstone, be very focused on this is what I want the outcome to be. Project partners are on board. They're working just as hard. That's why things got done. And they're in process now, making money. Have customers. Love it. Have other things the same way. Things are still in process. How bad do you want it? Now, seats open. Anybody wants to jump in and talk to me about it? What motivates you? I mean, that's really what it boils down to as well, too. The harnessing that power means that if I clearly understand the why of what I want, I really want this, or even if I don't clearly understand the why, to be honest with you, I just know I really want this. Oftentimes that's enough of a motivator. My original reason for getting over the fear of stepping out on my own and having my own business back in June of 2008 wasn't that I had lost my job. It honestly wasn't. because I had decided in April of '07 what it was that I wanted to do. And then I had a plan that I was going to keep the job that I had and stash away monies so that in '08, figuring about a year later, I would have enough money that I could leave the job. So that was April of '07. October of '07, I get fired. Oh, I was not crying. Trust me. It was not a sad time. It wasn't a completely joyful time either, because I didn't have enough money in my mind to start my business. And there were a couple of technical issues because my business requires that I have internet access. And honestly, didn't have didn't have high-speed internet access where I live. Didn't have it. So in June of '08, I got it. Finally came to this area. So I got it. And I started my business. I had a couple of clients. It was scary as all heck, but I'll tell you what, the motivator to get past the fear, the motivator to get past the anxiety of starting a business and not knowing what you're doing, right? That desire was, it wasn't to be a business owner. The desire was to not work for somebody else again. The desire was to be able to make my own decisions. Scary as that was, because see, now the cushion's gone, right? You mess up in a corporate environment, you get yelled at, or you might get a demotion, or you might get slapped with, you got to work some overtime or what have you. You really muck it up. I mean, do something illegal, you're going to get fired. But I'm talking about you make a bad decision. I mean, so here's a for instance. I made a bad decision and when I was a field engineer, and it didn't have to do with the equipment. It had to do with handling the client. And I was called into the service manager's office. I was given a chewing out, deservedly so. I fully expected to be fired because we lost the customer. My actions were the final straw to losing a customer. It wasn't solely on me, but I was a part of it. I owned up to it. And I went to work the next day. See, that's a cushion that I don't have here as a business owner. So I lost that cushion. And even though I was afraid, and even though I was anxious about losing that cushion, that safety, that security of working for somebody else, and even knowing that I could get fired at any moment, at least I knew at the end of the week or at the end of the month, I was going to have money coming in a particular amount. Even though I knew all that's what I was saying no to, I was okay with that, because the working for somebody else at the time was it was horrifying for me. It was bad. I'd gotten very, very ill. I'd gotten physically down. It was just bad. And it wasn't just the company. It was me. I'm better suited to doing the kind of work I do now. But I got through it. And my motivator was the desire to not work in those environments again. I didn't have a real clear idea of what my business was going to be. I say that. I didn't have as clear of an idea as I do now. I mean, I'm laser focused today. And it's changed. The business has changed. But when I started, I had an idea. I knew that I wanted medium-sized businesses as my base clients, that manufacturing was in my background, robotic systems, engineering, that sort of thing. I could understand the tech stuff, that I love to help marketers and business people understand the information that was out there and to help them make decisions. You know, I knew that was what I was offering, and I knew that. But I didn't have anything past that. And that was fine. June of '08, boom, here I sat. Had my first customer, actually, that the spring before, so a couple months previous. Didn't need library. That's where I was using the computer and systems. But anyway, I did it, right? And I was very nervous. but I knew that I couldn't work for anybody else. So that's June of 08. September of 08, the financial crisis hits the world. And honestly, even though I just told you that my background was where I really felt comfortable is manufacturing, technical, and all that stuff, my initial clients were in the financial sector. So for a couple of months, all was rosy. And then September of 08, the world crashes, telephone stops ringing, and everything comes to a halt. So there's two ways to look at this. Number one is that even if I had stayed with that job that was horrible and done everything I could to stay hired, to not get fired, I would have been let go anyway. And I didn't think like that. I just thought, well, now there's no jobs. I really don't have a choice, but that's all right because I didn't want a choice. Let's just keep moving forward, figure it out. And it was that desire to not have to try to find a job, to not have to work for somebody else, that I got creative. I look back now and I realize just how creative I got. What am I willing to do to not work for somebody else? And I was willing to learn public speaking, so I joined Toastmasters. I was willing to learn sales. I wasn't very good at it. What I mean by that is the face-to-face telephone work. I was willing to do it. I just wasn't very good at it. So instead, I thought, well, there's another way to do this. It's called social selling. But I had access to my customer base, to my target market through social media, professional platforms, of which I was a member and of which I utilized. And I started developing my network, and it was intentional. Wasn't nearly as intentional and organized as it is right now, but by gosh, it kept me going. Kept me going. Referrals. That was primary base of building my business. It was through referrals within my network and from existing customers. And that added to that, how badly do I want this? It added to the desire. And I think that's the way, that's the way I look at harnessing that power of desire. How badly do you want it? I wanted it pretty bad. I was willing. I had done it before. I was willing to go door to door if necessary. And in a sense, I did. Tried it. And I wasn't very good at it, but I did whatever was necessary. I need to have sales. I need to have income. I need to have revenue. I need to be out on my own, standing on my own, because now, a year, 2, 3 years later, now not only do I not want to work for somebody else, there are no jobs. There's not much choice here. Now it's a necessity. And that is another, can be another foundation for how badly do you want it? Is there a level of necessity? I've heard that saying that necessity is the mother of invention, right? Go ask a farmer. They'll tell you of the really interesting contraptions they've come up with in order to get things done. So, throwing it out there, would love to have somebody jump in the seat. Let's have a discussion. Those who are new to the room, hi, Paul. Good to see you. Hi, Bruce. Will, nice to see you. Tommy, glad you're here. Those live can see the PDF, which has a link in the upper corner of the seat, to the book. I have an actual physical book of which I've pulled out right now, just kind of reviewing some of the principles, and then we'll start delving into pieces and parts, literal pieces and parts. So there's your link to the book, so that when I can start telling you that we're on page such and such or chapter such and such talking about this, you can join and you can have your own reference. At the moment, talking about harnessing that power of desire. So I think what can happen sometimes, I'm going to throw this out there. I think what might happen sometimes is that you really, really want something, but you don't know how to harness that power. You don't know how to harness the desire. You don't know how to harness and use that emotion to get laser focused. I think that sometimes can be the obstacle. We had an interesting conversation yesterday where somebody was talking about, I just don't know what to do first. I really want this end result, but I'm not sure what to do first. That can happen. But I don't know that at this point it's as important as, have you figured out the, and are you experiencing, how's that? Are you experiencing that intense emotion that comes with, I really want this. I really want this. I'd have. How badly do you want it? I want bad enough. I'm willing to do what's necessary to get there within legal bounds, not hurt anybody in the process. If I can do it with a smile on my face, all the better. Sometimes that's a little tough. That's why we have other people around us, right? Yeah, so success through a positive mental attitude. And one of the sayings that we all know about is actually from Napoleon Hill, that Martin Luther King is famous for quoting, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And necessity plus, and this is straight from the book, I'm actually on, where am I? Sorry, chapter 3. Necessity plus positive mental attitude can motivate you to succeed. Necessity. And this was interesting because as I read this, necessity is the mother of invention and the father of crime. And he talks about two different stories. One is of a gentleman who was a man of character. Okay, and with a positive mental attitude. Necessity, he saw, was having come from a very large family, and they were in poverty. They were a happy family, but they were in poverty, and he wanted more. And he was used to poverty, and yet he wanted to break out of it. And being a man of character, he wanted to do it in a way that was helpful. He didn't want to hurt anybody in the process. And as he devoted his life to the principles of Think and Grow Rich, he eventually became the president of the First National Bank of the town he lived in. He aimed high. He had a goal of being rich enough to retire at the age of 50, and he achieved it 6 years ahead of time. Today, he's leading a useful life. Okay. What's important to note is that necessity motivates a man with positive mental attitude to action without transgressing recognized inviolable standards. That was a mouthful. Honesty is inherent in positive mental attitude. Doing things without hurting anybody else is an inviolable standard. No lying, cheating, stealing, deceiving allowed at all. That man was a success. Now, how about the negative mental attitude and crime and necessity? In here, he talks about Al Capone. And somebody who was doing an interview, Napoleon Hill, asked him, how did you get started in a life of crime? And his response was necessity. And then he teared up and he choked up. And he told of some of the good things he had done. Al Capone had done some good things in his life, but that's totally negated because he had devoted his life to crime and to hurting other people. It destroyed his peace of mind, and it undermined his physical body and spread fear and disaster in the path that he followed. Everybody left behind him was wrecked. It was a Was he a success? No, I don't think so. Not sitting in prison. Not sitting there all by his lonesome, dishonest, deceitful. No, no thanks. So that's the negative side. I'm choosing the positive side. How badly do you want it? Anybody want to jump in and have a conversation about harnessing that power of desire, getting yourself laser focused? Read the book? That could be good too. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you. Yeah, if you've read the book, that'd be even better. It is a good morning too. It is. So those new to the room, and I know you can't see it in the recording, but in one of the seats is a link to the PDF. Upper right corner is the pop-out, and that should take you to the PDF. So Cindy, you'll have a copy of the book. Have access to a copy of the book. How many times have you asked yourself, or has somebody asked you, well, how badly do you want it? Remember when you were a kid and you really, really, really wanted that toy? I'm serious. You really, really wanted it. How badly did you want it? You wanted it badly enough that you wouldn't shut up about it. That's me, actually. And I was quietly persistent. I was one who every opportunity would just say ever so softly, that'd be fun if I had that. Yeah, the family and I, we can go do this, but I'd like to have that. I wasn't one to whine and cry and stomp my feet or what have you, but I would just quietly, persistently say, this is what I wanted. That was what I was like as a kid. Ever did that? It doesn't matter what it is, does it? If we want it badly enough, we're going to figure out a way to get it. What I like about Napoleon Hill, what I like about books like Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, Law of Success, Think and Grow Rich, and the others that he has written, is they're all based on integrity. It's all based on honesty. Don't hurt anybody when you are putting these principles to use on your road to success. Matter of fact, whenever possible, bring some people along with you. That's what I like about what they're sharing here. Good morning, Catherine. Good to see you. So, any comments? Feel free to type them out if you're not able to come into the live stream. I'd love to know what you think about this. Harness that power of desire. We have a fellow lover of the book, Catherine. Yes, I'm so glad you absolutely love this book. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a good one. That's I'm glad I came across it in my cabinet. It obviously it's been a while since I've read it, and good stuff. It's I think it's good for every one of us to be reminded on a regular basis of what we decided we were going to do. I made the decision of what I was going to do with my business, and along the way, I've made a decision to do things, right? To again, the workshops that I do, the mastermind groups that I facilitate, the weekly professional networking group that I host online, the trainings that I provide, the business research that I do, and the consulting that I do for individuals and businesses. Those are all the titles and the quickie, this is what I do. Getting there takes time and effort and energy and other people. And those plans were revealed. Those Steps were revealed, opportunities were revealed as I kept moving forward towards, pretty specifically, this is what I'm doing, you know, and then deciding whether or not something is appropriate. Sometimes actually is a gut check of, is this going to work with where I'm headed? Nope, doesn't fall in line. And maybe it's a gut check that says, oh, absolutely, this falls in line. I can get more excited about this. Let's do it. It falls in line with who I am and what I do and my values and all that stuff that comes into play. But right now, I think it's important that we recognize, honestly, that you set your sights on something and you want it so badly, you're willing to do whatever's necessary, barring breaking the law or hurting other people, in order to get it. Once you have that, then the how begins to be revealed. And we can go as deep as you want. You know, I've got courses and trainings and workshops that go deep into guiding you into your why, guiding you into your ideal customer, guiding you into to have your marketing message, right? All the details that go into place. That comes later. Now, later might be tomorrow. Later might be today in 3 hours, depending on what it is that you've set your sights on. But what have you set your sights on? And how badly do you want it? You're willing to learn new skills? And we have Bruce. That's interesting. We've all been there. Have a dream, like to share it with others. Sometimes, more often than not, people can be negative, saying things like, that will never work. And sometimes they may be correct. However, you still want it. Take strength to keep moving forward. How do you handle that? You surround yourself with the people that are going to support you and to give you honest feedback. Honestly, that is the truth. If I took, all right, so here's the deal. I go to my husband and I tell him the business I'm going to start does this. And he looked at me with a complete blank face. This is a man who'd never been online. This is a man who didn't know a darn thing about computers. And until recently, didn't even have a smartphone. And when I say recently, I'm saying within the last 3 to 4 months. But he didn't care. He was supportive. He trusted me. All right? He trusted me. I didn't go to him to get approval. I mean, I really didn't. I went to him to let him know, as a partner in this marriage, this is where I'm heading. And it's going to take my time, and it's going to take my effort, and it will take some monies. And this is what the plan is. Oh, this is it. So it was more of, out of respect for my partner in life, that this is where we're going to head. When I went to family, mom, dad, it was the same thing, just to let you know, this is what I'm doing. When I went to other people and they came out with a negative, I don't understand. Usually it was, I don't understand how that works. Well, you don't have to worry about that. I was surrounded, quite honestly, through a network of an association that I belonged to, and today still belong to, of people who do similar work. They're the ones I go to touch base and to figure out, am I on the right track? How do I do some things? Where do I go from here? Those who begin with, well, that'll never work, just walk away. Go to the people that have done it or have done something similar. That's how I think it can be handled. Catherine, my husband looks at me like that a lot, or with fear in his eyes. That's funny. Mine he still says, Charlene, I still don't know quite what you do, but I don't have to. So that's right. I don't have to fully understand everything he does. It's not necessary. I trust him to be doing what he needs to be doing in his profession. Now, having said all that, I do not have an intense desire. I do not have my eyes focused on flying to the moon or going to Mars. But even if I did, if that's really, really what I wanted to do, that I wanted it badly enough, I'd figure out a way to do it. Yeah. Nicely said, Bruce. Bruce is saying thank you. So in other words, do your best to keep the emotion of others out of it. Exactly. Especially on the negative side. Having said that, you go to those who can provide you with positive feedback. And what I mean by positive feedback is, if I'm going into a group of people that are telling me that you're just nuts, that's crazy, and it's something I really, really want, I just keep my mouth shut and move on to the next group. And then there's going to be somebody in there that says, well, how cool is that? I'm watching this happen on Blab all the time. Where's Dave? Dave, the upcycler. I watch him in other groups, and over the months, I've watched people say, well, that's just nuts. That's crazy. He ignores them, as well he should. Because as he's gone around group to group to group, I've watched him, and he's got people like me who say, well, that's just pretty darn cool. How in the world do you do that? Totally different, right? And then he's connected with people who've helped him to refine his vision for what he wants from his company. And he's headed in a direction that I know nothing about. I can't be helpful in terms of connecting him with anybody. I can't, I'm not a part of that inner circle that is really going to help give him good, solid feedback in the direction he's going and how to approach people and all that. But I am one of those people that's watching and cheering him on. And there's other people, watched him do it. Other people that have said, I don't see how that's going to work. And they have nothing to offer except that's not going to work. Or I don't see how it's going to work. Shake it off and keep moving. If you want it badly enough, you can do that. That's where that power really comes in handy. I didn't understand that completely until I really, really, past couple of months, stepped into it myself and said, no, this is what's keeping me going. Or something. Because there have been a couple of times I've wanted to just close shop. Back in 2013 was the worst year. I just wanted to close up shop. What's keeping me going? Is it just the negative? Is it just the I don't want to work for somebody else? No. It's not. It's more than that. And Catherine's saying, usually they look at me shaking their head saying, you're not normal. Yeah. Actually, I've gotten that since I was a kid. My husband says he married me because I was weird, and the more he got to know me, he says, I've promoted you. You're now odd. I said, thank you, honey. I love you too. Normal can be viewed as mediocre, and I have always had a hard time being mediocre or thinking in the average. Because I like to ask questions. I like to know more. I like getting past the first answer, because my experience is that the first answer isn't the real answer. Yes, Catherine. Even the Bible says we're called to be peculiar. Yes, that's our individuality. It's wonderful. It's awesome stuff. So, we all talk about or hear about, or we'll even say it, well, think out of the box, right? Thank you, Bruce, for that. Think out of the box. And really what we're saying is that the way I visualize it is all the mediocre non-thinkers are in the box. Those who are in the box for that particular instance are all focused on the same things, doing the same things, being okay with being okay. not real happy, but being okay with settling and thinking outside the box is the one that steps out and says, there's a different way to look at this. Where I get pushback is when I ask the questions. Because a lot of people don't want to answer any more than what they've given. They don't want to go any further. They really are okay with settling with where they are. It's not my job to shake them up. That's not it. But boy, do I get excited when somebody's willing to answer more questions when they've already done the shaking up. And they get excited when they've got somebody like me who's really curious about, well, why'd you do it that way? What worked about it? What can I learn from you? It worked for you. You're being successful right now. How'd you do it? I want to know. And then when I know, I want to put it to use so that I can honor what you told me. Yes, I agree, Catherine, that sometimes it's easier to stay settled in an uncomfortable known than to step out into the unknown. Oh, yes, I know that. Yes, I know that very well. And of course, I'm not a risk taker. I'm not somebody who's constantly being challenged, constantly challenging myself to always step out of what I'm doing and how I'm thinking. I'm not. But I'm going to tell you, I want what I want badly enough that I'm willing to step out. I have stepped out into the unknown. I'm willing to do some things in order to get what I want. I'm not hurt anybody in the process, not break any laws. And I think that's what that power of desire is that it keeps the energy and the oomph behind the willingness. I'm sorry, Catherine. Catherine is taking up to like 16 comments to correct a spelling, and I'm just as I get the same way when I goof on a spelling. We know what you're saying, dear. The key is knowing the end line so you don't lose momentum in the going. That's it. Bruce, your talks makes one reflect, think, and move forward. Thank you for that. You're quite welcome, and thank you for telling me that. I mean, my assumption is that you all are still in the room, so you like what you're hearing. And I'm glad of that. I'd prefer somebody be in the seat and talk with me about it. But if you're not up for that, that's cool. I've got some comments. And then we have Catherine, always the fallback. Always. I'm a writer, not an editor. I get it. Yeah, you have to feed your kids. They make me do it every day. Yeah, they're pretty persistent, aren't they? They will be pretty persistent about behaving in a way that makes it so much easier just to feed them. Just do it, right? Oh, boys are fun. Love boys. Love what boys have in their pockets. That always fascinated me. And then we have Cindy. I'm back. Welcome back. Hope you had a good phone call. Yes, I like what I'm hearing. I'm so glad to know that. Don't know how to get there. I can assume what you're talking about, but I'd rather not. Don't know how to get where. Well, that's all it took. Would just ask her a question. I'll remember that next time, Charlene. Just ask Cindy a question.
I had to eat breakfast first, and I wasn't going to do it on camera.
You're so thoughtful. So thoughtful.
Good morning, Charlene.
Good morning, Cindy. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be seen. Nice to be here. Kind of early for me. I didn't go to bed till 2 a.m., which is probably my norm. I'm a night owl versus a morning person, but don't know how to get there or where to go or what's going on. I've been my own boss 25 years. Well, I have to answer to my husband. That's about it. And But yeah, with 3 children and raising them, and granted they're all adults now, but they still need their mother from time to time. So I my norm is, if someone needs something, I drop everything that is for me, and I take care of everybody else. I'm a caretaker. I just do it. I caregiver. I give, take care of everybody else, and whatever I was doing or whatever's important to me. Not to say my children are important to me. That's why they're first, my husband and my children. But the things that make me feel a sense of self pushed in the back. So I'm, now that my last one is 24 and he's looking to move out and buy a condo and stuff like that, I'll help him with that and get settled. But I'm trying to find time to be creative, do what my business is: teaching how to paint, being creative, going to conventions, sharing my knowledge with people. And yet I'm struggling with trying to develop, it's like I need to take that step, or be pushed off a cliff, or however you want to word it. I need to do this. And I am my own worst enemy, and I stop myself. So ask, how badly do I want it? Obviously, if I'm stopped here, I don't want it as bad as I should.
Not as bad as you could.
Right.
Not should. I'm not going to determine the level of how badly you want it, right? And is there really a gauge that says, well, you're here, so you should be here, and how badly you want it? No. I think it's more of where am I right now? Where am I literally right now? What I had difficulty with, so my business, Search by Burke, was started in 2008, and I was chugging along and doing okay. And then in 2013, it just because it was no longer, enough time had passed. I was no longer really angry about having to work for other people. That was no longer the desire that kept me moving forward. I had to take a look at, now what? And so into 2014, I started refining what is it that I really like to do? What is it that, this is going to look like, and all of that. And I added a component to be able to work with individuals because I enjoy that, and it had been asked of me many, 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 many times. So all of 2015 was refining that, getting clearer on what that actually looked like. Now, the desire was always there. The ultimate end goal desire has always been there. And that was what I tapped into, and has helped me to push through the I don't knows. So the ultimate goal desire is what I'm harnessing. It isn't the day-to-day figure it out, right? So mine is to have a business that can sustain the two of us while we live on the road in an RV. And along the way, there's a couple of things that are attached to that. And in exchange for that, that's what I'm working towards. In exchange for that, I am willing to give the best service I can, to offer the best products that I can, to be the best solution for my target market. And, it goes a little deeper, but ultimately it's always been that top desire. Once that was hit, and that was hit hard. And I believe it was 2013. Could have been 2012 when I identified it and then actually wrote it down. It was about 2013. And it was like, that's it. By gosh, that's what we're going to do. That's it. How we're going to get there, I'm not sure, but that's what's going to happen. So I took that and then worked my way through, and all the frustrations that come along with that, and trying things and saying, well, that was a waste of time. But it wasn't really, because I learned what didn't work. You know how that works, right?
Yes.
You know that some associations, some conventions, some fairs aren't going to work for you. You know that. And whereas other groups and other venues work better, that's all a part of it.
Right.
So that's like the high level of my journey to identifying the desire, and then harnessing it is What I mean by that is when I'm in 2015, there were a couple of times, well, honestly, I was in survival mode. And so focused on just doing whatever was necessary with that ultimate goal in mind. And so I was doing some things that really didn't line up with who I am and where my business is, but it brought in revenue. So, okay. I look back now. Okay, glad it was there. Now I can get focused because I got out of survival mode.
So the thing you had to identify was what was your ultimate goal? What was, and then your path just came. You did things.
It started showing itself as it became more clear to me about who I was and what I do and what I wanted to do with it. But I wasn't struck with a sudden vision. I was exposed to all these people and I listened to what they did. And all these years, I've been a member of an association of people of information professionals, of which I am one, and doing a variety of things as individual independents. How they're running their businesses, kind of customers they work with. Well, that could be interesting. That could be interesting. Does that fit with who I am and what I do? Yeah, maybe I'll go after that market and see what happens there. So the details of the path to get to buying the RV also includes, we knew this would have to happen, and this is this year's project, is to figure out what needs to happen to sell the house. Because the house is not ready to sell right now. It's not in optimum condition. So that we can get the most money so that we can purchase the RV we want. But the business side of it started coming as I was exploring other people. And I pretty much knew what I was good at. What I didn't know how to do was how to step out. This is what I'm doing this year. I'm stepping out behind the company name. I'm stepping out as Charlene Burke. So that's another change that's happened, but it's in line with what I plan to do. So it's a process. It's all a process, but ultimately the goal is to get this business sustainable so that I can, feel confident that I can support the two of us on the road if something happens.
I think my husband would like that thought too. Well, he's looking for retirement. So he's looking at me saying, okay, now you've been doing this for 20 years. So, like he doesn't say it, but it's kind of like, when are you going to get serious? Because I've been treating it like a hobby.
Right.
I haven't been looking at the numbers. I've been just doing.
Yeah. I know a lot of moms like you. I know this is what I heard. I don't know if anybody else heard this in the room. And this is what I hear out of a lot of women like you. Your ultimate desire was to have healthy, happy children. Mm. That's why they were the priority. It didn't matter. It does not matter what that takes. Because if you set aside whatever it is you're working on to make sure that they're covered and they've got what they need, that tells me that's your priority. Yeah. Oh, cool. You had one. That's the way I look at it.
I don't think it ever stops.
Well, and I'm really glad of that, having talked to my mother yesterday. Yes, that's, I need mom. She loves it.
That was my phone call, by the way, was my mother.
Yes. I'm so grateful she's still around. So grateful.
Well, you were asking to come in, and I almost did. And then the phone rang and I said, that's why I didn't, because she calls me Monday through Thursday, 8:30 every day.
There you go.
And that's, she's my little alarm clock and my weather forecaster.
I get it. But that's what when I meet up with moms who are running a business, and when they're able to run the business, all that tells me is that the kids don't need them right now. Mm. Because at the same time, what happens is that suddenly they're saying that, I'm not going to be able to take on those projects right now. I'm doing these things with the kids. I'm taking care of this over here. I'm over here doing this. It's all associated with the family. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful. That's your ultimate desire. You've got the power there. How badly do you want those kids to be healthy, happy, and in the right direction? That's within your power. You're just willing to do whatever it is that needs to be done to have that happen.
Right.
So now you're saying, this is what I heard you say was that that's happened. Now what?
I figured that when they got to be self-sufficient, independent, whatever you want to call it, that then it would be me time.
Mm-hmm.
And then me time, I could start really focusing on my goals, what I want, what I call success. And yet I still feel like I'm being pulled away from my own road. I'm being pulled, pulled. I go a few steps and I'm pulled out. I come back and I got to regroup. And then I go a few more steps, I get pulled out again. And it's like, I really. So I feel like I'm always on a stumbling block. I'm always on this treadmill and I'm not going anywhere.
I'm going to share what's in my heart and my thoughts, and then I'm going to throw it out to Will, who actually is an excellent coach, to see if I'm on the right track. I don't expect him to jump in. He may not have had his tea yet. I've seen him when he's not had tea. We don't want him in here. Yeah. But if we've got our coffee and tea, so we're good. So my thought is, when I vacillate and I am torn with where my actions should go for the day, and because of battling priorities, and it's consistent. It is because I haven't really made the decision at the beginning of which one's going to really be the priority. I'm allowing you, whomever that is, you, the others, customers, previous customers. I mean, something is in business, previous customers, where I felt drawn back into doing work that I really didn't want to, but I'd never made the decision, well, I'm just not going to do that. So I was easily drawn back in, something like that. There was a time I developed and I created websites and all of that. And I made the decision. I don't do that. I made that decision. I said it out loud. I don't do that. Now people come to me and I say, I don't do that, because I'd already made the decision. It was solid. I stood in it. I said, I don't do that. And you can talk to any of my team members and some of the things I'm working on, and I'm not doing the websites. I don't touch them. I get the access codes. I don't even go into the back end. So I don't do that. That's your job. But I made the decision, and it's true in my personal life as well, that when I made the decision that this is where I'm going, this is the direction I'm headed, or this is not what I want in my life, this is not the direction I want to go, I actually made the decision and didn't consult anybody else except God. I went quiet. I have a little retreat center for the real life-changing stuff. I have a retreat center. It's about 15 minutes away from me that I have access to. I can go out in the woods. I can go actually go on a 3-day quiet retreat if I want to. I have access to the brothers. I can sit quietly and I can pray and I can meditate and I can conjugate and I can do whatever needs to. I can beat up a pillow, like whatever. I can journal, whatever. Doesn't matter, right? But it's me. It's me. And I make that decision. And once that decision is made, then when the priorities come up, it's like, oh, well, I've already made that decision. Yeah, that's the direction I go. Sometimes all that means is, you know what, you're just going to have to wait an hour. Or you might have to wait a week. It's not life-threatening. It's really okay. You can wait a week. But as I think about it, that's really where it started, was I had to make the decision. Yeah. Make it ahead of time.
Good advice.
I don't know if that's helpful. It sounds like it is. Yay.
No, it's resonating with me, and you're right. And I made the decision not to answer a phone call that I can't recognize the number. I made the decision to get out of volunteering as much as I had been for my local group, because they were sucking the life out of me. It wasn't fun anymore. So I made those decisions, but I hadn't broken it down to as simple as when I wake up in the morning, what am I going to do today, and what's going to take priority? Because I, again, have been allowing myself to be pulled out of what my path was for the day to help other people. You know, I mean, my kids are adults. Do they need me to do whatever they need right this second, or can they wait? You know, can I finish my task and then address theirs, or do I have to drop everything and address theirs right this second? So, I mean, it's as simple as that, I guess, right? I mean,
simple does not equate to easy, just so we know.
No.
Just so we know. But yes, it is that simple. It was for me, and it is for me. Now, getting there. Much. Yeah, you're quite welcome. I can tell you sometimes getting there, though, does mean I got to get with some other people and just kind of throw it out there, say it out loud a few times, test it out, actually test their reactions. You know, hey, Bruce, yes, Bruce, you know, go to them and actually see, are you going to respond negatively to this? Good. I'm out of here. Sometimes, right?
No,
you're confirming. Yes, good.
Okay, I'll pop out and maybe somebody else will chime in for you.
Oh, that's awesome. That was great meeting you. Please come back every weekday morning, 8 a.m.
Okay, Charlene, thank you. If I'm up, I will.
Terrific. Thank you, Cindy. So good to have you with us. So that's, we are at the top of the hour. I will stop the recording. I can keep the room open for a little while. At the top of the next hour, have a team meeting. So those who'd like to continue the conversation, happy to do so. Thank you for joining me in the live stream. Thank you for the comments in the side seats, if you will. The great contributions. Good stuff this morning. Thank you for watching the replay. So glad you've been with us. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.